Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis Winter 2022 trailer. The forgotten Final Fantasy VII mobile game. This was supposed to have a beta back in, what, like September or something like that? And just disappeared off the face of the earth, but I guess they're still doing it because here we are with a new trailer. Hopefully it's going to shed some light on what the schedule for the game is actually going to be. So I'm going to watch this trailer, haven't gotten around to that yet, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. And especially as someone who has a decent amount of experience with mobile games, especially of the gacha variety, I'll talk about some of the things that I see because I remember some of the things I saw in the last one, and I'm assuming I'll see more of those in this trailer as well. However, before we get to the reaction, special shout out to Square Enix, because right before I was going to record this video, I found a box outside my door. And while I'll have to move away from the microphone so my volume will get kind of messed up, you can see a giant Crisis Core box. I'm not going to unbox it. I've already unboxed it. I'm wearing one of the things that was inside of it. But you can see you have the box. There's a steel case right about there. And also there was a letter from Square Enix Japan, which was signed by Yoshinori Kitase, Marco Sato, and Tetsuya Nomura. I'll include some images on the screen since I have those back there and I don't really have a great setup for showing you them. But the big prize was this jacket. As you can see, it's like a military style jacket. Soldier first class. Totally undeserving. And then on the back, there we go. Can't help but notice my cats are sitting outside my door. They probably not as big a fan of this as I am. But thank you to them for sending this over. Just wanted to show that off because I got really excited about it. All right, so without further ado, let's check out the Ever Crisis Winter 2022 trailer. First time as a leader. Okay, I think I know what this is. It's like, who are these people? Then I remembered a detail about Ever Crisis. This is probably the first soldier story, which we knew would be a part of Ever Crisis. I mean, what else could it be? Who are those people? Am I just a fake fan? I just don't remember. Oh, man. Yeah, just showing Crisis Core or the original Final Fantasy VII. Probably a good idea. Yeah, because I mean, Crisis Core, fresh out, Final Fantasy VII, been around for a while, especially, remake in recent years. Interesting ATB system at the bottom. It's like an ATB system, but it's like segmented into like a 3, a 2, and a 2. And then all the different skills at the bottom have values between 3 and 5, it looks like. Final Fantasy VII, that's the Airbuster scene. Another Crisis Core scene. Final Fantasy VII. Okay, nothing too fancy here. I do like the art style for the characters, and it's interesting because the models do look just like upscaled, like the classic ones, but in combat ones look a lot more like remake, which was true in the last trailer also. Whoa, Aerith, you're missing a chest. Also, something I was keeping an eye out for with Aerith. I see on Aerith there. I think she had something in the first trailer as well. Limit combo. Interesting. Guess it just increases your damage by the multiple there. Yeah, I think the first Ever Crisis had this young Sephiroth. I think it did like a transition shot for it, though. Or at least I'm assuming it's young Sephiroth. Who knows when it comes to Final Fantasy VII anymore nowadays. Is that it? Oh. Summer 2023. Bro, it's supposed to be summer of 2022, or at least the early fall of 2022. Oh my goodness. What could have caused it to go back that far? Maybe they just shifted priorities. You know what? It could even be strategic, because with Crisis Core coming out the end of this, it's already out by the making of this video. But there's it's fits perfectly in between Crisis Core and Rebirth. Well, not perfectly. We don't know if next winter is December of 2023 or as far as March of 2024. That's as late as it would be if it stuck to the winter. But I know I'm willing to bet that they just shifted focus. First Soldier went under. I don't know if that had any impact on the timing of this or how they wanted to do it. But let me just look back at some of the elements. So this, I'm almost certain, is First Soldier story. For those who don't know, Ever Crisis is a mobile game that's supposed to encompass all of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. So it has things from like Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, but it also has them from other games that either we haven't gotten to experience before or are newer games. First Soldier has its own story segment in Ever Crisis. Realistically, the only way to have a story mode, since A, the original game was a battle royale, and B, it's shutting down. So there's really no other way to experience it. And this will be in the turn-based format that we were seeing in the rest of the video. I guess my only real question is this scene, if this is a young Sephiroth, is this supposed to be taking place during the First Soldier era? That makes the most sense to me. But I also don't know much about Before Crisis, which was another prequel phone game that followed the Turks. So I don't remember if I never played it, so I don't remember if there was like a young Sephiroth in there, and that's supposed to be who this is. I'd at a glance guess that it's First Soldier related, though. Now, as for this, we can see the menu itself, player level, really standard in mobile games. Basically, as you complete objectives, your account levels up, and that normally gives you more access to things. Maybe you have more stamina in some games, or maybe there's a feature that unlocks at a certain level. But we can see just, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. Eventually, we know this will have pretty much everything. Even Advent Children, they said, would have a segment on this, the movie, in case you didn't know it was a movie. But yeah, pretty much everything across. And you don't have to play as characters that are necessarily relevant to those particular stories. We saw the Crisis Core characters being used in the Final Fantasy VII level, and when we saw characters that you don't normally have access to, fighting Reno in the Final Fantasy VII level. So it's just about collecting the characters by playing through the stories. And then if I recall correctly, they said that the gacha element, basically the way that it will be monetized, is weapons. There are also purchasable cosmetics. We saw that in the first trailer, and we do see that here as well. I believe Aerith had a different dress. I think she had the dress from Don Corneo's area in the first trailer. I'd have to go back and watch. But yeah, this almost looks like an ancient's wedding dress or something like that. I can't wait to see the fandom talk about why she's in a wedding dress, especially when she's right next to Zack. But I mean, we got our boy over there. Is he wearing like a harness or something on his back, Red 13? It looks like he might be. And then Zack wearing, this prim and proper outfit as well. So yeah, that's going to be a big monetization aspect. In a lot of other games that Square Enix does, when they do cosmetics, it's usually not too bad. It's normally bundled with like a premium currency at a decent value. Thinking of like Dissidia Opera Omnia being a pretty good example of that. So I'm sure it'll be very similar, but we won't know for certain. So we'll have to reserve our judgment for that one. Other than that, the actual system, so we actually get an idea of the reward structure here. So you do have some that look like they have set party characters, like you have a Zack only, a few Zack onlys, and then you have bonus crystals, which are probably either EXP crystals or for progressing through a certain section. But we, of course, did see that that's not going to be exclusive to this area. Maybe in the normal mode, they'll want you to play as a set character. But perhaps in the follow-up modes, like hard modes, which is a very normal thing for this to have the raised difficulties, you'll be able to bring any of the party characters later. So, I mean, they show as much later in the trailer with the level 40 Reno and everything. So, moving into the actual combat system. So, it looks like you have maybe an auto and a manual mode, because I noticed it says it's in manual mode at 1x speed in the top right. In case you're wondering if I'm blocking anything, it's just a little bit of Zack's portrait, nothing else. It does have like a bar at the bottom. What does that do? Yeah, he's got like... So, I'm going to move my camera just so you can see it briefly. I'll have to look at some of the footage, but he's got this like bar underneath his health. Normally, I would assume that's something like stamina or MP, but there's nothing to indicate as much because it looks like all of the combat system is done with ATB. So, he takes a hit, and it's not so much turn-based as it is just, ATB. So it looks like you have the first 3 bars is like the bare minimum for some skills. You can see that Blizzara Blow and Blizzara both cost 3. Then some have 4 or 5, which dips into the second set of bars. And then I guess the last set is for reserve bars. Maybe they'll do something else with it at some point. But that's how I'm discerning this. But it looks like you have to have the 3 plus a certain number. It's just that if the bars get consumed, you'll have to go back. It'll dig into the first 3 bars. So that's... there's not really much to say. It kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy 13's, but with like more direct control. But it's definitely not like it at the same time. It just definitely makes me think that more than anything else. Let me see if there's anything in the footage that... Oh, it looks like actually he gets stamina here. So he goes to cast... Limit Break. I'm so dumb. That's a limit break gauge. How did I not think of that? That's a limit break gauge. I don't know why that didn't just trigger in my mind. Maybe I've been playing too many action games as of late. Yeah, it's a limit break gauge. So, he gets hit, he lands a hit, the limit break gauge goes up, and then you have the limit bonus from later. Enemies will have special attacks. You'll have special attacks, as you can see. He's got his Blizzara Blow, he gets Fiery Punch, and then it has all the cutscenes, rendered in this. More, I guess, as some might consider it, almost more faithful way compared to the original, since the graphics are closer to that, but generally upscaled and HDified. Somewhat similar to the Final Fantasy 15 version on the Switch, the portable version. And then you have that, you have treasure chests on the map, so you'll still be, it looks like you'll still be walking around the map. I guess because we don't really see much of the UI here, there's a question of if you're using like the touchpad in order to select what direction you're going to move, if it's like a digital joypad, or if you just literally run from location to location, or it's like point and click or something like that. All things that have been done before in mobile games, so wouldn't be a surprise. The limit combo just looks like if you have multiple limit breaks available, you can combo them together to increase the damage, to increase the multiplier, as we do see with this combo right here. They just do, you know, a ton of damage. We also see the defense reduction there. Healing Wind also, interestingly, I don't know, did that deal damage? Did she get that 2,000? No, it looks like that was just used to heal. So it looks like that wasn't actually part of this combo. Either that or they skipped doing Red 13's the second time around here. You can see it gives them the regen effect, fighting this behemoth. Then he, you know, hits him with El Clasico, bam, and then we get to the scene right here. Overall, a lot of things that are standard for mobile game players, a lot of things that I've seen, and it's literally down to the nitty gritty, because this seems really cool, you know, turn-based Final Fantasy 7, all of the compilation, you know, outfits, characters that you know, all of that's well and promising, but mobile games live and die by their monetization and how willing people are to participate. The game needs to be generous to free to play players while offering things that make people kind of okay with their purchases. At the bare minimum, okay, not necessarily wailing. Outfits bundled with gems is a very common thing that does work with a lot of games, but the big thing we're looking out for is if it's predatory, or how predatory it actually is. You know, are these weapons going to be like 0.1% without like a pity system where if you do enough, you actually get it guaranteed? Or are they going to be releasing content at such a schedule that there's no way a free-to-play player could actually reasonably play the game and actually progress the new content? A lot of mobile games, even if they don't necessarily make as much money, live and die by those things. Final Fantasy 7 being a major franchise worldwide, if it's even semi-fair, leaning a little bit away from absolute fairness, I think it'll probably be okay. But that's an aspect we'll definitely have to analyze as we get closer to the official release. Hopefully we'll get that information before the summer of 2023. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section of the video below. Are you excited for Ever Crisis to play through all those stories that you may or may not have ever gotten to play before, or just playing things like Advent Children, you know, the movie, playing that as an actual section? Or are you just immediately like, nah, mobile game, not having it, you know, just seen this, done that, not going down that road? Either way, feel free to express yourself in the comment section of the video below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and when there's more news to share on Ever Crisis, you can be sure I'll share it with you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.